Round 10, Montreal.
Can you keep up, baby boy? Make me lose my breath. Bring the noise. Make me lose my breath. Hit me hard. Make me lose my. Can you keep up, baby boy? Make me lose my breath. Bring the noise. Make me lose my breath. Hit me hard. Make me lose my breath. Can you keep up, baby boy? Make me lose my breath. Bring the noise. Make me lose my breath. Hit me hard. Make me lose my breath. Ooh, I put it right there, made it easy for you to get to.
Okay. Welcome back to another episode of Sports Chat with Sid. We have a different setup today. I'm trying a new setup. We moving things around. There's gonna be some changes, but although the scenery might have changed, the content has not. We have F1 this week. We have NBA this week. We got a little bit of WNBA this week. That's what we're going over. So take a seat, get something to drink, get some popcorn, get a little snack, get some food, whatever you need to get through this episode. We're gonna start with F1. The Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal. I'm gonna just be honest, it was nothing special. I tried to get through it. Nothing really special. We start with some qualifying. McLaren didn't do so well. Still the number one car on the grid, but for some reason the speed was just not working this weekend. It just was not speed racing this weekend. I don't think they brought any updates, but I've been hearing the McLaren car from Lando and Oscar. Both of them have been saying, even though they're the fastest car on the grid, their car doesn't really drive that well, especially like it doesn't really agree with Lando's driving style. So that definitely played a role in this qualifying because Lando ended up in seventh place behind Lewis in the Ferrari and like a few other people. So that was very surprising to see from McLaren. Russell got pole, which is cool. Mercedes getting up there. Max got second. That was going to be a very interesting start, and Piastri got third. So we're trying to figure out how that was going to go. The whole question going into the weekend was, will Max and George get into it? Max already got a point from the last race because he ran into George. George being a little salty about it, them going back and forth on the radio. Then George wants to have a little key after he got pole and was like, well, I got some points on my license. I could race hard. I don't know about Max, but he was like, if you want to try it, I could try it. I ain't got that many points on my license. I said, no, now George, relax yourself. You know you're not gonna do anything. Because if Max really wanted to, he will still run you off the road, get the race penalty, and not care. Because that's just how Max is. But that is not what happened. We go into the race. Max and George basically stay out of each other's way. George takes off. He kind of leads the race from essentially beginning to end. And then Antonelli, who was in fourth, was the other Mercedes driver, the teenager. He goes past Piastri. So now it's a Mercedes double podium, which is looking really good. Again, this is just a start, so we never know what's going to end up. McLaren's, like I said, they're not running too well. Piastri couldn't really keep up with Antonelli once he got in front of him. He tried to get past him, but nothing happened there. Lewis, like I said, started in front of Lando. He started in fifth. However, 13 laps in, and he was keeping up, so it was looking good. Lewis out qualified Leclerc because Leclerc was in like sixth or eighth, something like that. He out qualified Charles, who was looking good. Then in lap 13, he runs over a beaver, a groundhog, whatever they have up in Canada. Those animals, because they have a bunch of animals that like to run rampant on the track in Canada. He runs over that, sustains damage, and then loses places and loses time, and is nowhere to be seen. So that was kind of disappointing. Then we have the papaya rules. The papaya rules are back, baby. We love the papaya rules. Why? Because it means we're gonna get chaos, drama, and Zach screaming at somebody. That's what the papaya rules is. They let the boys race because essentially they already have the championship, at least constructors in the bag, with both of them being the faster car. Mercedes is kind of far behind them. Max is running a one horse race. I guess we call it one-legged horse race. I'm trying to find the quote, but he's basically running by himself. There's two cars in Red Bull. Sonoda is unfortunately nowhere to be seen, like any other second driver for Red Bull. And so they're not in contention for the constructors. Honestly, the closest one in contention, surprisingly, is Ferrari. How? Who knows? It's basically because the last few races they've been in the points. They've been consistently in the points, unlike the Mercedes, like at Monaco, who neither one of them got points. So I think that's why Ferrari is like in the constructor second in constructors, but McLaren is like leap years ahead. So it doesn't even matter. And then now Lando and Oscar are kind of close. So they're like, and it's still pretty early in the season. So they're not taking one over the other, especially because once they're winning constructors, they can literally just duke it out. Because what you don't want to do is it's only you only want to call team orders. Like you only want to say, hey, we're gonna push for this one driver if the constructors is in the balance, because you don't want to destroy both cars and then you lose essentially both championships. But because they're way ahead in constructors, they're like, let the boys race. Let Piastri and Lando get into it. And boy, did they. Let's get to the lap 67. Lap 67 was a hot mess. It was basically just Piastri trying to get to Antonelli. Because him and Antonelli are kind of fighting, going back and forth, Piastri's getting a lot of the dirty air. Lando's catching up to them. Lando catches up. Piastri's like, damn, I either have to try and get Antonelli, but I also have to defend Lando now. So he was like, all right, let me defend Lando. He goes, he's defending Lando. They're racing back and forth. Next thing you know, Lando gets in front of him. Then Piastri cuts back around, gets in front of him. They're going down the straight neck and neck. Then Lando goes behind him, gets a slipstream, tries to go for a gap that essentially, I don't know if he was trying to take the outside gap or if he saw space that wasn't there, but he ended up just running onto the side of the road into the grass, hitting the wall, destroying the car. Lando is out of this race trying to fight his teammate. That is literally what happened. Unfortunately, like I said, he made the mistake. He admitted to it. He was like, hey guys, it was me. I messed up. I went for a gap that was not a gap. It was actually grass. I went for a patch of grass and I messed up and damaged the car. So, and the funny enough is when he was racing prior, his engineer was like, "Oh, if there's a safety car, like if something happens, do you want to switch on to softs?" Like, because this was around lap like maybe 60 or so. He was like, "Oh, do you want to switch on to softs?" And then you could ride the rest of the race out of softs. He's like, "Absolutely," because at 60 there's like 10 laps left. And then he's the one that gets the safety car at lap 67. So no soft for him, no car for him. He is in the garage watching the end of the race. But the end of the race was boring anyway because at lap 67 they had to pull out a safety car to get Lando's car off the road. The race technically ended under safety car, and under safety car you can't overtake anybody else. Like you're not allowed to basically overtake at all. You're just gonna stay in the order that you're already in. So then at the end of the day, you still had George first, Max second, Antonelli third. First podium for Antonelli, first Grand Prix podium, I should say, for Antonelli, which was chef's kiss. We love that for him. Double podium for Mercedes. So Mercedes is kind of crawling back up in the constructor ranking. Um, and that was basically it for Canada. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Sometimes Canada can be interesting depending on if they have rain, because they usually have rain. And especially in the northeast up here, we've been having a lot of rain. So I'm very surprised that Canada decided it was going to be dry, free of rain, sunny, and lovely for the entire weekend, essentially. So it really didn't give any drama. But, we're here anyway. We still love it. I think they're taking a break next week. The week after is the Austrian Grand Prix and the new F1 movie coming out. So that would be exciting. I would be recapping both of those in my next episode. Or not the next episode, the episode after. So check out that. Next, we have the NBA.
I just made a 40, spend a 20, I'm like, fuck it. Now it's back to the trap till I touch another 100. If he got it, tell him run it. I ain't leaving nothing, nigga. I swear last week I was broke, this week I'm stunning, nigga. How I feel to go broke and get rich.
All right, so we have to try this again because my mic went off. So if you ever want to do content, guys, gotta remember to check our mics. Anywho, let's get into some basketball. So last week we left off where Pacers and OKC was 1-1. We go game 3, first game at the Indiana Pacers home, and what happens? The Pacers just had better defense. They came through defensively and ran OKC up. I'm not even going to front with you. Yes, did Halliburton and Toppin, Miles Turner, did they get their points? Of course. That's how you win games. But defensively, they was damn near unstoppable. So now they're up 2-1. They have another game at Indiana. OKC comes back for game 4 with a vengeance. They were a few points ahead. Pacers kind of started well. They were, again, using that same momentum from game 3. Siakam had a lot of momentum in the first half. Obi Toppin goes off in the third quarter, and let's talk about it. Obi Toppin's a bench player. Like I think he's honestly like six man. Like he's literally right up there and should be a starter. And I wouldn't be surprised if he started earlier during the regular season. But they haven't been starting him for the playoffs. They've been starting Miles Turner, which makes sense because he's also a great player. But Obi Toppin, every time I hear his name, I get scared. As a person who's rooting for OKC, Obi Toppin, even on the like when they were going against the Knicks, like this man would come through and just create open shots, get some dunks, get 3 pointers. He's not really a big 2 pointer. He will get a block, run down the field, get a three. Like this man is up and down. He talk about fast paced. Indiana's always been fast paced. But something about Obi Toppin, every time, like I said, I hear his name and I'm just like, oh my gosh, not him on the floor again. Because he creates like 6, 7 point deficits. Every time he goes on, he creates 6, 7 point deficits. I don't know what it's about, I don't know what it is. Like I said, he's a great player. And to come off the bench and this man is creating deficits, like it's it's mind boggling to me. But like I said, so he comes off Q3, back to back threes. OKC is like, okay, let's slow this man down. Let's take a timeout. We need to stop this momentum. After the timeout, he then comes back and hits a dunk. Like, what momentum are you slowing down? Obi Toppin said, you can't stop me. You cannot stop me. Like, it's not happening. They run up points by like 6, 7. So now there's like a 6, 7 difference between Pacers and OKC. Fourth quarter, OKC's coming back. They came back with a lot of defensive moves, forcing turnovers. They then switched to playing field, so now OKC was up by about 6, 7 points. Halliburton couldn't make his final 3 pointer. It wouldn't have made a difference because it was like 20 seconds left. They had turned off the shot clock, but still, you're known for being a clutch player. You couldn't even make that final three. Kind of sus, but he couldn't make the final three. It wouldn't have made a difference anyway at that point, but it would have still been nice to see, especially if you're known as like a super clutch player. But now we're even 2-2, going back to OKC for Game 5. So now Game 5 was yesterday, June 16th. I'm trying to keep up with the date so I remember, and when I record next week, I'll know what was what, when was when, where was where. Um, Game 5, Halliburton starts off. He's struggling with calf tightness. So just starting off there is not looking good, right? Calf tightness is nothing to play with. But he's still he's still able to play. He's just not playing as well. He's not running up and down the field as well. He can't create open looks as well. He's just not as fast, which makes sense. You're sore. So he's trying to create open shots for other people, but there's multiple turnovers. Like the Pacers are just not starting off well. They make a comeback in the third quarter. They start creating some open shots. Siakam got his shots in, but Williams from OKC, I think his name is Jay Williams or Jason Williams. I gotta look it up. You'll see like the little name, not the little name. You'll see the name here when I look it up. But Williams from OKC got 40 points out this game. Like this man, he's been increasing every single game. They showed a stat where it was like from the last because this was game 5, from the last 5 games in this finals, it went from like 16 points, 17 points, 24, 27, like yeah, no, 27, 37. That's like how many points he's been getting. Like each game he's just been adding points to his repertoire. And this game he went off. He just got 40 points out of nowhere. That man, like Shea got his points, but Williams, oh my god, that man went off out of nowhere. Halliburton, again, because of the injury and everything, doesn't have a good game. Got 0 field goals, like 0 points outside of free throws. Got 4 points off of his free throws, and that was it for the entire game. Not showing up like that in the NBA final, and you're not on the bench, is kind of crazy. That's what they were talking about on First Take. They had like a conversation like, hey, should they have just benched Halliburton, like just save his legs and everything for the next game? Because at this point, you're kind of just wasting energy. That he's not getting points, he's not creating shots, he's sore, like he's technically injured, but he's not fully injured, and he's playing like it, like he's not getting his points, no field goals, and you're in the NBA finals and you're supposed to be the star of your team. At that point, just bench him. Like he's and I get why they didn't because they were still close enough to where like if Halliburton got hot, it could have went a different way. So I get not benching him, but also it was not looking like it was going to go a different way. He also wasn't even trying to attempt shots, which makes sense too because he was like not it wasn't clicking, it wasn't getting hot, and he was like at this point let me just try and create open shots for my guys, which makes sense. It's a very unselfish thing to do, especially as you're kind of like a star captain or whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, it didn't really help the team at the end. And so they were saying, should they just have benched him and gotten somebody else in that maybe would have gotten more points? An option, and we can only look at hindsight as like, maybe, what if, and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, they just couldn't pull out that win. OKC just had a better, not only team, but like better defensively, again, driving those turnovers, and they just couldn't make it happen at the end of the day. So now OKC is up 3-2. Again, I stopped making predictions because I don't know. Every time I start making predictions, then the universe wants to go against me. Y'all know who I'm rooting for. I'm going for OKC, but I'm not gonna make no predictions on whether they're gonna win in Game 6 at the Pacers or Game 7. I'm just gonna say, hey, great basketball. Hope for a dub for OKC, and we shall see by either Thursday if they win in Game 6, or was it the next game is like Saturday or Sunday if they win back at home. So we shall see. Now, going into the WNBA, and sorry if I'm checking my mic. Like I said, this is my second time recording this. My mic died on me. And so I have 12 minutes of film that I cannot use. Anyhow, going into the WNBA, we got a little bit of stuff to go over. First and foremost, the girls are fighting. And like I said, this is a gender neutral term. You will hear me say it for both the girls and the guys. But this week is the girls, the actual girls. They were fighting. Angel Reese playing for Chicago Sky. They played against Connecticut Sun. I will get back to that name later. She gets her hair pulled. And as a girly, getting your hair pulled, never fun. Now, actually, not never, but it's usually not fun, especially when you're trying to be serious and you're trying to play a game. Getting your hair pulled is not fun. And she had the 40-inch bust down braids. Understandably so. One of the girls from Connecticut Sun go up to try and block her layup. I guess she basically wasn't in front of her, so she jumps from behind her, and when she was landing, she kind of had grabbed her hair on the way down. Now I don't know how you accidentally grab someone's hair because you have to clench your hand into a fist while you feel their hair in your hand. But that's neither here nor there. Angel gets mad, understandably so, and goes after her teammate, her mama, anybody that was on the field that was in red. She saw red, and she was like, "What is wrong with y'all? Why would you pull my hair?" Telling the ref, "Girl, that's a foul." Like she straight pulled my hair, and did. But it did not stop Angel Reese from getting that first triple double in the WNBA during that game, creating shots, making plays, and doing what she got to do. So she still got to the business. Chicago Sky still won that game against Connecticut, and it was a great game to watch. Not gonna front, it was my first full WNBA game, and it was fun to watch. But yeah, about that name, Connecticut Sky, not Connecticut Sky, Connecticut Sun. Being in the Northeast, we haven't had sun for the last 7 weeks straight. Now, I get it. Phoenix Suns, right, in the NBA. Makes sense. If you've been to Phoenix, it's hot. It's sunny all the damn time. Connecticut Sun, I guess it makes sense because WNBA plays in the summer, and I guess it is sunny in Connecticut in the summer, but like still, that name don't even make no sense to me. But neither here nor there. As I figure out like these teams and everything like that, I'm like looking like they just tossed some of these names together. Like it don't even make sense. But anywho, going to the next one, we have Paige Buchers, who comes back from an injury. So she's out for like a week or two. Comes back from an injury, drops 35 points. She said, "Just so you know, I ain't go nowhere." She said, "I just got some rest. Now I'm back." Dropped 35 points. They came back to win. She came back to win with her team, the Dallas Wings. Again, another name that it kind of surprised me. I was like, Dallas Wings. I was like, first of all, and their mascot's like a horse. I was like, first of all, wrong thing. If y'all don't be selling chicken wings at that stadium, I don't know what y'all doing. If you don't got barbecue sauce or something, the Dallas Wings, that sounds fire. It sounds so good. And I like Hey, got a couple ideas for their marketing team. Get some wings and get some barbecue sauce or some hot sauce. Like y'all should be marketing this way better than just a fucking Pegasus. Like it should not be a Pegasus. Y'all should really have chicken wings. Like that sounds fire. Why would you not want some Dallas wings? Just saying. I don't know what they're doing down there, but if they don't got no wing sponsorship, they should get one immediately. Anyhow, again, like I said, I'm still learning the WNBA. Everybody is highlights. All people talk about from the WNBA from all these other sources is Caitlin Clark. Love Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. They talk about her too, but like I'm trying to learn some new people. I'm trying to learn about the new players. Like they're not really talking about anybody else. Like, you'll hear Asia Wilson, you'll hear Kelsey Plum, like you'll hear a few other people, but like I need a full breakdown of what is going on in the WNBA. I gotta find another source that like really goes into like the different players other than like the main 3 or 4 stars. Like please. I'm trying to follow along, but if I don't know the players, I don't know what to follow along to. I'm just saying I just need some more in-depth research. And me, bro, if I have to do the research myself, I'll do it. I don't want to, but I can do it if I must. If I have to learn these players myself and do my own research, I shall. But guys, help a sister out. I need some help. Who is like the go-to person to find out who these people are in the WNBA? I need to know. I need to know these players, their names, their stats, their drama, their tea. Who's in, who's out, who don't like each other, who loves each other. I gotta figure all this out before we do a deep dive into WNBA. Again, which I will do after the NBA finishes within the next week or so. So that is the recap for this weekend. Not a long episode, but hey, we'll come back next week and we'll do it all over again. Check you soon.